You could feel the tension crackle in the air in Barcelona, and by the time the checkered flag fell, Max Verstappen had lit a match that set the F1 world ablaze. The moment he lost a position under attack from George Russell, Red Bull immediately instructed him to give it back. Standard stuff. But Max Verstappen, he doesn't do standard, especially not when he's told to hand something over. His displeasure was written all over his face and the onboards, and although he did return the place, what followed was not just controversial, it was outrageous. A 10-second slap on the wrist was all he got, for what many are calling a blatant hit. The bigger question isn't about Max, it's about the system. If a near-race ban driver can make a move like that and walk away with a 10-second penalty, what's the FIA really trying to protect? Safety or stars? The final few laps in Spain will live long in the memory, but for all the wrong reasons. Max had been thrown onto a fresh set of hard tyres, the only one in the field to do so, and he wasn't thrilled. In fact, he was furious. His body language, the radio chatter, everything pointed to a driver already at breaking point. The team didn't have any other compounds left, so the choice was made out of desperation, not strategy. But Max didn't want to hear that. Everyone lining up behind him during the safety car knew what was coming. He'd be a sitting duck. And on lap 61, that prediction came true. Leclerc had a go, Verstappen squirmed under pressure and lost rear grip, and Russell smelled blood. The Brit dove in to challenge into turn 1, forcing Max wide. What should have been a dramatic but clean exchange turned into chaos the moment Verstappen refused to concede. Red Bull sent him a radio message telling him to give the place back. He didn't like it, no surprise, but eventually agreed. What no one saw coming was the way he chose to comply. As Russell completed the overtake, Verstappen followed him into turn 5, and then bang, Max veered into the side of Russell's car. No defensive line, no correction, just a direct hit. It was shocking and deliberate. Fans and pundits alike drew immediate parallels to past Verstappen outbursts, but this one hit different. We've seen the fuse blow before, most recently in Budapest, but Barcelona was darker, meaner. Verstappen's frustration with strategy is one thing, but taking out your opponent on purpose because you're upset with your engineers, that's a whole different monster. The message was crystal clear. When things don't go Max's way, he still lashes out. Forget 4 world titles, forget maturity. The red mist is still there. He might say 2025 isn't about fighting for a championship, but his emotions in that moment told a different story. He was angry, he was humiliated, and instead of swallowing it, he detonated. The consequences, devastating. Verstappen ended up crawling home in P10. A race that could have been salvaged for 10 or even 12 points ended in complete disaster. Worse still, his deficit to Oscar Piastri ballooned from 25 points to a jaw-dropping 49. That's right, one race doubled the gap. And while Max fumed, Nico Rosberg fired back harder than anyone. The former world champion didn't mince words. Max should have been black flagged, Rosberg said during post-race analysis. You don't just hit someone because you're mad at the strategy. This isn't bumper cars, it's F1. The precedent was set in 2017 when Vettel tapped Hamilton in Baku. Vettel got a stop-and-go penalty. What Max did was even more obvious. A hit, a ram, there's no defending it. As the dust settles, Red Bull's situation is getting messier. They've officially lost their grip on 3rd place in the Constructors' Championship. Unless something drastic changes, and fast, they're slipping out of contention. Verstappen may still be their golden boy, but when the pressure hits, he seems more volatile than ever. Tsunoda's performances aren't bridging the gap either. Horner has made it abundantly clear the driver's title is the priority. But how do you chase that crown when your main man is hemorrhaging points and flirting with race bans? Here's the brutal reality. Max ignored a direct order, and not just that, he weaponized his compliance. If your race engineer tells you to yield, you yield. It's because they've reviewed the telemetry, the replay, the FIA notes. They know. But Verstappen took it personally, and that personal vendetta cost him dearly. Right now, Max is 3rd in the championship, but Russell isn't far behind. Just 25 points separate them. And with Verstappen racking up penalty points at the rate he's going, that lead could evaporate overnight. The infamous exit clause in his contract. It's creeping into the conversation again. It feels like something is brewing in the background at Red Bull. Tension, mistrust, perhaps even talks of a way out. When the safety car was deployed, Red Bull had 2 options: keep Max out on burned mediums, or gamble with a new set of hards. Hards that no one had tested in these track temps. The gamble didn't pay off, but it was the only hand they could play. Verstappen's frustration was valid, but his reaction was not. Had he stayed composed, he could have secured P5, maybe even snuck into P4. Instead, his actions dropped him out of the top 10 and slapped him with 3 points on his super license. That brings his tally to 11. The threshold for a race ban, 12. 1 point away, one mistake, mistake, one incident, and he's forced to sit out an entire Grand Prix. George Russell, calm but clearly rattled, shared his view. My perspective is that I just got crashed into. I don't really know why or what the thinking was behind it. In the end, I'm glad that I continued with little damage, and ultimately it punished him a lot more than me. That's how Max goes racing. As I said, he was in P4, I was in P5, I ended up P4, he ended up P10, so from my side, I'm glad that I managed to finish the race. Not really sure what he was thinking because he cost himself and his team a lot of points. Then came the kicker. This isn't racing. This is Formula One. There are consequences to what we do here. And he's right. If Max had clipped a suspension or broken a rear wing, Russell's race could have ended in disaster. That it didn't is more luck than anything else. Still, George wasn't pulling punches. He even referenced Max's behaviour in Qatar, suggesting a pattern of emotional outbursts when things don't fall his way. Everyone thought Max had changed, that his dominance over the last 3 years had calmed him down, matured him, but Barcelona proved otherwise. The MV33 era, the wild, aggressive, no-holds-barred Max we saw in 2021 and before, he's still in there. He's just been hiding. Verstappen now has one goal: protect that super license, because another outburst like this and he's out for a race. The FIA's latest 3-point penalty was a warning shot. The next one will be a hammer, which begs the question, what happens next? Will Verstappen remain with Red Bull if these struggles continue? Will he look elsewhere? Can the team get its act together fast enough? The new technical directive hasn't shifted the balance as many expected, yet somehow Max was in podium contention even with a 3-stop strategy. That shocked Piastri. But McLaren isn't just winning races, they're winning the mental game. They're keeping Verstappen on edge, and they're doing it with clean, controlled racing. It's hard to see where Verstappen turns now. He has no teammate offering real support. McLaren has momentum, Mercedes is creeping back, Ferrari might surprise us all. If they find consistent pace, Verstappen won't just be under pressure, he'll be cornered. No one's ruling Red Bull out yet. But this season isn't like the last 3. The pecking order is shifting, and when your best weapon is also your biggest liability, there's a reckoning coming. So now we leave it to you. Has the situation spiraled out of control? Can Red Bull get a grip before Max implodes again? And more importantly, how do you defend what Verstappen did? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Until next time, goodbye for now.